Cameraman Grades, cameramangrades.com. How to film football, training, and professional consultations for camera operators, video coordinators, and sports video experts at all levels. Find us at cameramangrades.com or contact us directly at cameramangrades@gmail.com for your own professional consultation. Currently looking for the best camera operator of the 2025 NFL season? These are the best of the best, and we're putting it to the test. Today we're looking at the New Orleans Saints, Week 16 versus the New York Jets. We're just going to jump right in and see what they're doing. All right, zoom out to pick up the kicker, keeping the kicker in the shot. Okay. Nice. Okay. It's good. Keeping the safety in perfect relationship to the edge of the frame the entire time. Looks really good until right about here. Okay. At this point, you can see the quarterback's about to release it, which means the safety is going to flatten out. Right there. Okay. So if you can keep this a little tighter along the edge, that can help. Still within 10 yards. So it's decent. Ball's on the ground. Okay. Awesome. Great job seeing it. All right. Nice and tight to start. Good, good, good. Okay. All right. This guy at the top really presses the edge. Okay, I love being able to keep people in relationship. You got space down here. You can give them a little bit of space at the top. But look at that. Okay, obviously everything's going that direction. Quarterback's rolling out that way. So that's where you just kind of expect that the play is going to go that way, and anybody coming this way isn't. There's nobody coming this way, right? But even at that, they're really not doing anything back here. If you were to drop them to keep this action involved more, that would make a ton of sense. All right. Looks good, though. Nice. Perfect. Okay. You can see the shift once you're zooming out and you see the run recognition and you start to zoom back in. Okay. I formation, straight ahead running. Okay. We're pretty cautious on that. I could clearly see that the pitch was coming this direction, so I would think that you can, at that point, recognize that it is an all-day run. Oh, slips. All right. Okay. So right here, the ball's away. Once the ball is away, you're not expecting any more routes. Everybody's engaged at this point. These guys are crashing. So any zooming past that, zooming out, is just going to gain more and more space. So this is the furthest point in that. But if you're keeping these guys in the shot, which you can, but you can see that they're not doing much. If you were to drop them, wouldn't be a bad decision. But sometimes coaches, they want to see guys walking behind the play. I'd rather recognize that they've done their job up until this point, or maybe they didn't. Maybe they needed to hold their block longer, but his job was to affect this guy here, I guess. And then, this is where the action is at that point. So you can just take it all the way to here by the time you're done, right? And that'll gain a lot of space by doing that. All right. Okay. Okay. So here, it's kind of the opposite of the last time I mentioned this, but this guy's pressing the edge really hard. He's right there. And we got all this extra space. Um, so, not sure what the play fake is here. Play fake coming this way, and then quarterback looking like he's going to keep it going that way. But the indicators don't show that, right? So, cutting that down and seeing this makes sense. But you can see how even with those slight changes, right, by being tight to start, you have the wiggle room to be able to do those things. Um, I'd love for them to stay up tight on it and not zoom out if you don't need to. But the fact that they started as tight as they did, it doesn't affect it to the point where it's not a good coaching tool at that point. Okay, ball's knocked away here. Stay nice and tight throughout. Yes. Awesome. Okay. So look at that. You got 5 yards behind the quarterback, and then as he drops back, they're not gaining any space back there. They're letting the quarterback fill that edge. Do go back to the original 5 yards, but that's really good tight filming at that point. And then you do have more space behind the safety, but not to the point where you're shrinking the players. At this point, zooming out to pick up these guys is doing exactly that, shrinking the players. Um, and then you got referees on this side and dropping guys on this side. If you bump it over, you keep them in the shot. All right. Perfect setup. Perfect kick. What the kickoff is that? I don't even know what happened there. Huh. I was able to see it though. That's great. Nice. Look at that run recognition. Okay. Here's the difference, right? If you see it right away, handoff. Okay. The zooming stops right there. And then now we're coming back in. Love it. And I see all the numbers, all the everything. There's 21 guys in this shot. And I'm seeing everything because we recognize that it was a run going away from us. You're going to necessarily need to zoom in at that point. All right. Okay. So there, they couldn't get any tighter because of the top to bottom, and then they zoomed out just to make sure. That works. Okay. All right. Is there anything we can do to tighten this up? I mean, it's a decent shot to start. Okay. Some space, not a big deal. But to zoom out from there when nobody's really pressing right? Just creates a situation where your frame shrinks to this level. Right? And that's less than 70%, right? So if you can just recognize that, these guys are not, running anywhere that's going to cause an issue for the edges. All right. Nice. Okay. Now there they did, right? Now they absolutely are pressing the edges both directions. 5 yard out, 5 yard out. Bam. Okay. Awesome. Nice. Love the rollout coming this direction. I don't know what it is. It always seems to fit in the frame really well. If you just stay with it, right? Nobody pressing. You've got the extra space. Continuing to have extra space. Still have a lot of extra space, right? And then you can just see how much smaller everybody gets in the frame when you do that. Yep. It's the same box. It's still 60%, 65%. Okay. Okay, getting uptight. Change into an empty format, which completely changes your setup. Okay. Nice. Okay. Side to side, they really needed to do every bit of that in order to keep all 22 guys in the shot. So that works. Awesome. Yes. Oh, oh, oh. All right. Nice. Okay. Let's see here. Right here. Looks good. Right along the edges. Okay. Keeping space. Keeping space along the edges. All right. But let's go back to the rollout. Right there. You can see the play fake. You probably watch that all week long, so you see it happening. And then this is the indicator, right? This guy is not ripping off this blocker and coming down to make a tackle. He's getting upfield to get to the quarterback, right? Cutting off his ability to get to the sidelines and getting upfield. How do I know that? Because I was a defensive end, so that was obviously something that I would love to get, out into the free space with the quarterback and get to him. So yeah, I mean that's where it's at. You can see it right there on the video. Nice work. Yep. Looks good. Awesome. Great job. Okay. 4th and 4. Kicking. That they are. Kicks down. Laces out. Kick is good. 3 points. All right. Special teams. Kickoff. Kicking it. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Hold up. So the kick is away. I'm all for if you're going to keep the kicker in the shot, that's fine, but you got 10, 13 yards behind the kicker and no real interest in getting over to see where the ball's going at this point, right? There it is. Okay, now I see it. Now we're getting over there. That's a serious hesitation at that point, unless the kicking coach wants to see the kicker's follow through. But I didn't see that on the opening kickoff. And then it just makes for a 60-yard wide shot here. Okay. The kicker's completely, just walking off the field at this point. Kicked it well into the back of the end zone. But normally you just want to focus on the 20 guys that are running down the field and then pick up the returner at that point. Okay. All right, space behind the quarterback. You're starting with 10 yards behind the quarterback and then zooming out from there, picking up, the both referees, and then you're still about 10 yards behind the quarterback. Ball's away. This is where we want to focus. Nice. Okay, cutting down that space this time. Nice. And look at the difference, right? When you can see here, we got a lot of space back there. All right. Let's see if we can cut it down. Right to left. Sure can. Hone it on in. And now recognizing the run and then coming right back in. But at the point that they recognize that run, right here, we got safety on this side, quarterback on this side. If the quarterback by chance still has the ball, this is a perfect shot, right? So there's no problem keeping him in the shot just to make sure. And then I actually did see somebody get down to engage the safety, which I love. That's awesome. As a tight ends coach, I always told my guys, go attack the safety on every play. You want to get your hands on him every single play to the point where he knows you're coming, right? And he knows that you're coming after him on every single play. And that's a huge deal. Psychologically, the safety knows that he's going to have to deal with you again. Even if the play is pretty much over, get your hands on him. Like that. There you go. Putting your hands on people. That works. All right. Awesome. Let's go. Okay. Look at this. I can just pick a spot. This is good. This is good. This is excellent. Bam. Love it. Fourth and 5. Punting. All right. Got 7 yards behind the punter. Not going to use it. Immediately going to come over to cut it down. So you just start there. Great job picking up where the returner is and then coming in from there. Excellent. Oh, wow. Okay, let's get up in there. Tight formation. Let's get even tighter. Okay. Okay. So here, I love seeing footwork, receivers breaking off to the sideline. You just got to see it in your peripheral vision. You got to know that this is an option and that you're not going to use this space up here. you know, being able to see every single footstep for that receiver, right? Especially when we got the space to accommodate it. All right. Really don't need to zoom in any tighter than that. I mean, you could. They're at 85%. And then there's the long ball option down the sideline, right? You know, if I want to see what this, if this guy was open on this play, it's right there, right? That's why it's so important to keep him in the shot all the way through. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. So similar situation here. They do come down with this receiver. You see that? He's coming down this direction. And the ball's away at this point. So, all right. Still got space up there if you want to give him more space at the bottom. Oh, okay. So, been calling to move the camera down to give this guy at the bottom space. This time, we move the camera down to cut off the guy at the top. Again, to show a lot of grass. Okay. Looks good. Nice tight set. Handoff. Coming right back in. Excellent. Okay, switching sides. Second quarter. Awesome. Okay, stay with it. Stay with it. All right. This is really good. Perfect speed at which they're zooming out perfectly with the receivers, right? And then at this point, you can see that receivers aren't really going anywhere deeper than that. But we got it pretty wide. We're seeing cheerleaders, seeing stuff way off to the sides. Let's just throw it in the box just to see if there's anything we can do to tighten this up. Could bring it to right about here. Okay, that's really tight, right? Even if you were going to give it some extra space, which this filmer does fairly often, it'd be out to here, and even at that is almost 70%, right? So you're less than 70% of your screen on this one. 4th and 16. Kick the field goal. Nothing but field goals. All field goals today. Okay? Kickoff. All right. So there. All right. All right. So keeping the kicker in the shot. Are we going to do that? You know, it could be a very specific instance where we say we want to keep the kicker in the shot for his follow through and then come over. That could be the situation, but it's gaining an extra 15 yards behind the front line, which makes all these guys shrink to a much smaller portion of the screen. And I really want to see, you know, how they're going to engage, you know, trying to get down the field and get to this returner, and then what these guys are going to do to try to stop them. You know, that's football, right? Football at its core is I'm trying to get down to the guy that's got the ball and tackle him, and somebody's going to try to stop me from doing that. And what's it going to take to get there? Um, but yeah, I haven't seen anybody else in the NFL keep the kicker in the shot just to see his follow through and then drop him. Thanks. Awesome job. Nice. Okay. Doing a great job of lining up, getting everything just set just right, and sticking with it. Keeping everybody in the shot. No major mistakes, right? So it's been good. Mm-hmm. Okay, that works. 4th and 8, kicking the kicking the field goal. All right, perfect setup. No need to do anything. Let it play out. This is probably the most consistent thing I've seen throughout the NFL. The people that are really doing it well on field goals and extra points just set it up and then let it play out. Some people are tinkering with it and trying to, zoom in or move around or zoom out at times. But you can see that the majority of filmers they know that on that play, just setting it up and leaving it is a fine outcome um, for the situation, right? You can apply that same logic to so many other things, right? If adding more zooming in and out, or more camera movements was helpful, then we would do it on extra points and field goals. But so many times we can set up a frame and leave as much of it untouched until the absolute last moment when you have to. And by doing that, you give the players even more time to evaluate what they were doing in that exact spot on the screen. All right, so here we're down about 70%. Okay, is there anything we can do to tighten this up? Okay, right there we're tight. We're within 5 yards both directions. Okay, what changes? It's a pitch to this side. Everybody's coming this way unless it's a pitch pass, right? Maybe a throwback to the quarterback, maybe a double pass, stuff like that. Pretty rare to see that happening, but you could even keep this much tighter just to see that, to keep the quarterback in the shot with this receiver at the top of the screen and come down this direction. You really don't have to zoom out at all to make that happen. Maybe just a little bit, and that would be 80%, right? Okay, but then here, are we keeping these guys in the shot and then dropping out this great block at the point of impact, right? Keeping the quarterback in the shot, walking behind the play, and I want to see this engagement down here for sure, because that's going to be if the running back bounces this and somehow stays up throughout all that. That's going to be the lead blocker going down for the touchdown. I'll give up the quarterback behind the play all day long for that. Okay, nice. That was a good use of the frame right there. Okay. Okay. Just a lot of space behind the quarterback after the ball's away. Right. Quarterback starts scrambling this way. Got a lot of space back here. Still seeing the ref. Still seeing two refs now. Right. Is there anything we can do to cut that down? We got to the sideline to sideline here. That makes a lot of sense. Right. And then cut it down later on. That works. Okay. Okay. Still plenty of room to tighten this up. Fourth and 1. QB straight ahead. Oh no. I don't know if he got that. Right. I love this though. Quarterback sneak. Okay. Instead of zooming up on it for no reason, just let it play out. Right. This is a kind of a wide set for a quarterback sneak. A lot of times it's a much tighter formation. They spread everybody out here and then ran the quarterback sneak, almost kind of with some deception, thinking like it's going to be oh, it's not even the quarterback, right? Thinking that it's going to be a shotgun, and then the motion man takes the snap. All right, so yeah, that's deception all day long. All right, so you're out wide, quick snap, did not fool at all that defensive front. Seemed like they got a better jump on it that way. Saw it coming all day long, but just letting it all play out and then zooming in to see. Fantastic work. I formation. Whoop. Hey, what a cut. Wow. I love that. All right. Okay. Zooming out a little bit. Not a real great reason to. Who's pressing the edges? Nobody. The one receiver we did have is collapsing inside. That's a run indication all day long. Okay. Nobody's taking any steps backwards, right? So if you've got them lined up tight to the edge of the frame, you're going to see that, right? You're going to see that nobody's backing up. Nobody's gaining any depth whatsoever. And then you can start to zoom back in. Flag. False start. Nice. Awesome. Okay. And here it is, right? Now they are gaining depth. And look at, this is tight. This is so much tighter than what it was before, right? And they're gaining depth at the exact speed as this corner here. And he's 2 yards off the edge. Quarterback, 3 yards off the edge, right? 1 yard off the edge on the corner side. And then right here, they start to focus on the fact that it is a run, so they can zoom in on it. But yeah, like that's what I'm looking for, right? Filmers can do it. They're capable of it. A lot of times they just want to stay out wide just to make sure, and that's fine. But as long as we're using that extra space for its intended purpose. Wow. Awesome. Like this. Okay, got a little extra space right here. What are we going to do with it? Let's let the safety fill it, use it. Bam, let's let the quarterback drop into this perfect framing. Perfect. Okay, but to zoom out from there when everything is obviously not going any further, gaining 15 yards behind the quarterback, that doesn't make any sense, right? And what does it do for your frame? %70, 70 to 75%. Okay. Fourth and 12. We're gonna punt. Oh, a little running into the punter. I don't know that they call that as much as they used to. Used to be you couldn't even put a finger on him. But I really like that they got over and saw exactly where it landed. So, and I saw that there was contact with the punter, right? If they're not going to call it, at least we know that it happened. And I don't know what the reason for the change and the shift in the, how they call that, but whatever it is, at least I get to see on video that they are changing how they're officiating that compared to, I don't know, 10 years ago. Yes, right on the edge. Look at that. These filmers are so good. They're so good. And that's why I say, like, why can't we be tighter, right? That's why I nitpick it and say, well, they can do this. Totally capable of this. Look at that. What? Fantastic. Look at that. Awesome. Okay. Balls away. And then zooming in to see where it went. 15, 37. Wow. Wow. They're so good. It's decent. He wanted that first down. Didn't get it. Came up a little short. 4th and 1, and oh. Wow. More deception. Filmer's on top of it. Same concept as the last one. Direct snap to someone other than the expected person. Okay. Yes. Okay. Yes. Here it is. Right. Got space behind the running back? Not anymore. We don't, because we're coming in tight. And then we're going to roll out with the quarterback. Throw back to the running back. Wow. Wow. Bam. Okay. Got some space here. We got about 10 yards, less than 10 yards on each side. And then find where it is and go find the ball. That is a perfectly reasonable result for that. Can it be tighter? Yes. Does it have to be? No. If you are tighter, you just see, the players in a little more detail of what's going on. But it doesn't have to be that way. You can see everything that's going on in these plays, one after another. Okay. But there is a limit to it, all right? So let's see where we are within that limit. 10 yards would be right here. If you zoom out at all from here, it's just going to gain more space behind the offense, right? And more space this direction, more space this direction, and then that just becomes a much smaller set than what you started with, right? Doesn't matter how tight you get to start if you're zooming out from there and adding more space. But 85 to 90 is a good amount of space there, right? And then it condenses down from there. So, all right. Awesome. Great use of the extra space here. Okay, within 10 yards behind the quarterback and within 3 to 4 yards behind the safety, right? This is where you're going to use that space if you're going to, if you're going to see it, it's going to happen on the safety side. And then they bring the defender around, so he's right there. Now we got a tackle on the edge, and now we've got a nice tight set here. Fantastic. Awesome. Okay, top to bottom, they used every bit of that frame. Okay. All right. If we were to keep that zoom much less from the start, they're about 80% now, 75 to 80%. You can tighten it up significantly and cut down all this space. We got all the way to the almost to the back of the end zone behind the far side corner there. Okay, we still got space behind the quarterback. A lot of space this direction, sideline to sideline, but we're not using anything past the numbers on the other side, right? Okay, fantastic. Okay, you can see sideline to sideline, right? This is where you get sideline to sideline. You got a guy pressing this edge here, and this receiver is going to go out to the sideline here. Yep, this one. Okay, all the way across the field, and then stop. Right? We're already sideline to sideline. We don't have to go any farther than that, because if you do, what's out there? Well, plenty of stuff, but not football, right? So, love it. Great job. Okay. All right. Right here. Right to the edge. Got space down here. This guy's using this space right to the edge. Got space behind the quarterback. That would be the one place where I would steal from to use over here to make sure that if he's going to the back corner of the end zone, I can see it. Okay. Okay. Wow. All right. I like the play call. So this is a good frame here within 10 yards, both directions. Okay. Let's see how they can use it. Well, nobody really pressing too hard at this point. Just zooming out just for the space. I'm sure they knew this play was coming, but if you can zoom out at the pace of the receivers, adjust those controls just enough to be able to stay with them. All right, less than 70%. And then zooming back in at the end of the play. All right. 4th and 5. Guess what? Kicking a field goal. Man, oh man. That's a lot of field goals in one game. What, 4 so far? 5? 5 field goals. Okay, kickoff, keeping the kicker in the shot, plus an extra 10 yards, plus the rest of the stadium. Oof, it's pretty wide. I mean, if you're going to keep the kicker in the shot, he doesn't need an extra 10 yards behind him, right? Every time you add an extra 10 yards, you just shrink every player that you're seeing in the frame by a factor. I haven't even done the math on it, done any science behind how much smaller guys get. I just see it with my own eyes, and I know it's significant. And I've seen people that are, staying really tight to players and able to keep them much larger in the frame and see all the more detail, numbers, hand placement, what they're doing with their feet, what they're doing to disengage the guy who's in front of them to get off that block to go make the play. But if you zoom out so far that they're just on the screen, but you can't really see anything anyways. All you get to see is where they're at on the field, right? There he is, right? He's there, but that's the only information that you can pull from that. On this play, I'm not criticizing this one at all. That's as much space as you were going to need to be able to keep up with that play, because top to bottom, sideline to sideline, and the distance involved is significant, which is all the more reason why you need to stay as tight as possible to preserve as much detail as you can. Okay, you're gonna need to use sideline to sideline. He's right to the edge, and there's the catch. Pretty close. Almost ran right off the edge there. So, but they were able to keep him in the shot, edge to edge. Okay, same thing here. Awesome. Okay, sideline to sideline, right? You got a receiver on this side pressing this edge, and then you got the run going this direction. Right? Once they recognize it, coming back in and getting up top. And what I like is that they didn't center the ball when they go to zoom in, right? They keep the ball in relation to the rest of the players. So I'm still seeing all this action back here, and then the ball carrier, because he's going to the far sideline, is at the top of the frame, right? And that just makes a ton of sense. And there it is. Nice. Let's get tight. 5 yards total. Oh, yes. Okay. All right. All right. A little wider at this point, but throughout the entire play, look how tight. And they even tighten up from here. Yeah, a little bit more. Get in there a little bit more. And then put the quarterback right on the edge within 1 yard. And then keep the safety within 3 yards. And then look at that. Bam. Okay. Looping defender coming around. We got a little bit more than 5 yards at this point. Ball's away. Defender's coming up. Making an awesome hit. Wrapping them up. Got more help coming. Fantastic. Awesome. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. This is 5 yards total, between both sides. Total. And then he's wrapped up at this point. That's excellent. That's the one after that play that Fomer was like, yeah, I nailed that. You know it. You know he did. I would be like, yeah, got that one. Spot on. Love it. Looks good. Looks really good. 4th and 19. Oh, man. 8 yards, 10 yards behind the punter. Coming over, finding where that ball's at, and then zooming in. All right, less than a minute to the halftime. Let's see how that changes their play calling. They're dropping back to the end zone. Okay. All right. These are go routes. Okay. This dude's running all the way. Safety hits that edge a little bit. Really good job. Okay. Hurrying up. Okay. You can see that the filmer just stays on it, does not go to the scoreboard at this point. Okay. Quick 5-yard out, try to get the first down and stop the clock if needed. Great job. Great job, filmer, recognizing that you got to improvise. You're not going to be able to stick to the plan at this point. Okay, it's 3rd and 4. Let's see how that changes their play calling. Yeah. Whoops. Get the first down, get a lot of yards, and get out of bounds. That's like ideal. Okay. Get across midfield here, get some yards, and get some sweet, sweet field goal action. Or are they going for the end zone? Of course they're going for the end zone. Line up and go. Let's go. Yep. Spiking it. Okay, filmer's got to hurry. Okay. Awesome job. You can see how little time, there was no, from the end of the last play to the beginning of this one, there was no time in between. They had to go that quick just to be able to keep it in. Nice job. Seven seconds. Okay. Are you going to try to get a real quick pass to the sidelines, or they're going for everything? Quick pass to the sidelines. Nothing going. Okay. Enough time to get one off on 4th and 10. Just enough time. Nope. Jets are saying no. Referees saying no. All right. Starting the second half. Kickoff. Keeping the kicker in the shot. Yeah, I'd like to see that follow through, I guess. So, that works. Just keeping it as tight as possible, to be able to see the kicker follow through and the returner on the other side and all the people that are, working hard on that kickoff team to get off of their block and get down there and make a tackle, make a play, right? There's a lot of valuable information. If you can stay tighter on that, I would make the argument that is worth even more than seeing the kicker, once the ball's away. There are coaches that are requesting it, but I could make some points to why that would be so much more valuable to be able to keep those other 21 guys in the play. And then if the kickers are really getting downfield and making a play, I'm not sure what happened there. Was that no play? No. Illegal shift. If the kickers are getting down the field and getting into the play, you're going to see it. You're going to have the right framing to be able to see. You're not going to film behind the running back, behind the returner. You're going to film in front of him. This play was fantastic, sideline to sideline. You're going to see in front of the running back, in front of the returner, and all the blocking, and the kicker coming down and getting into the shot and getting involved. And I've seen that from other filmers and other teams. All right. Quick draw. Straight ahead. Fantastic recognition of that. Zooming out with it and saying, nah, he handed it off. Okay. 5 yards, both sides. Nice and tight. Sideline to sideline. Top to bottom. And the sack. 4th and 16. Man. Punts and field goals. I'm glad that this filmer is really good at special teams, because there's a lot of it today. Okay? And because of that, I get to see everything that's going on. And I get, as a coach, I would be able to evaluate that, right? And as a player, I would be able to see, hey, there's me in motion, right? What am I going to do? I'm going to block that guy, just like he pointed to. He said, block him. I'll do that. Double team. Perfect. Go route down the sidelines. Let's go. So good. All of this. Every bit of this, right? Top to bottom. Using every bit of this space. And then look at that. Trailing and then leaving this guy in the top corner. I love that. Okay? I love this. I love the fact that he's right here and not right here in the center of the frame. And then I get to see 20, 30 rows of stands and all the Gatorade and everything. This is the field. This is the play. This is the football. This is what I want to see. I still see this receiver down here, and I saw this receiver and you know, what was it, 60-yard launch ball down the field, right? He's sending it up from the 20, and it lands down at the far side, 35. Ooh, buddy. 55 yards in the air. Love it. Fantastic. If only you would have caught it. Right? We're on the other side of the field at that point. That would be great too. Okay? And what can we do differently to make that happen? Well, coaches and players are going to address that. They're going to look at every aspect of every play and say, what can we do to make that one count? Fantastic. And the reason they can do that is because they got this film. And they got filmers like they got in New Orleans who are seeing every single play and doing as good of a job as you possibly can to make sure that this team can see that and improve and replicate all the things that they're doing well and fix anything that they're not, right? Within 10 yards, within 10 yards. That looks good. Fourth and 13. Okay. That was quick. Quick offensive series. All right. Gunner's leaving the field down, leaving the screen down here. We got extra space up here, right? Sometimes some punts will go sideline to sideline and both gunners will go outside. Sometimes one of them goes inside, one of them goes outside, and they have kind of a, you know, directional punt coverage. So, but when that happens, you need to, you know, stay with it. Either you need to zoom out to see both of them going sideline to sideline, or you need to come down and get this. Either way is fine, but you've got to keep them in the shot. Because I need to see this, right? Coaches need to see this. This guy needs to see it. This gunner needs to see the fact that he's getting just mauled by several large human beings on this side, and they're not letting him get to that returner. This guy got loose, right? Got a double team on this side, single coverage on this side, and he got loose pretty dang quick at the top of the frame. I saw that, right? All right, 9-6. Saints with the lead in the third quarter. Let's see if we can get some field goals to tie it up. Oh, the rollout coming this way. Whoa, whoa. Okay, rollout's coming this way. A lot of times you don't have to do all that much to keep it all in. Let's just see if we can. Right there. It's all here. It's all here. Still here. Still here. Okay. I don't know what it is about a quarterback rolling out this direction. It was always one of my favorite plays because I could see so much inside of the frame that I already had. And I could make smaller adjustments, smaller zooms, smaller additions to what's going on in the field. And for some reason, that was a big deal to me. If I could remove myself from the equation as much as possible and just let the players watch what's going on. Less than 70%. Okay. Okay. Top to bottom. Perfection. 5 yard out. Pressing this side. Still on this side. Still on that side. Top to bottom. Absolutely perfect. You know, so many of the plays you're looking left to right, right? Then to see it top to bottom and see them do it that well, uh, it's really good. Okay, all right. I'm just looking at this as a 100% run. Okay, it's possible that this guy sneaks out of here and this guy goes this direction and this guy goes this direction and all that, but you can clearly see that it's not happening, right? The very first instinct with a tight formation is this going to be a run, right? And that's kind of why they pack everybody in here to be able to run. Safety's not dropping at all, right? Safety indicators are not telling him that it's pass. You got a corner on this side who's not doing anything but crashing in, and everybody is even smaller here. So that's why zooming out, there's no reason for it. Just leave it. Give it one more second to see if anybody's actually doing that. Give it another half a second to see if anybody's actually doing that. Okay. And if they start running all over the place down the field, do you think this filmer can do it? Yeah, because he just did it right there, right? People were running out into, deeper into the secondary there. It's a wider formation. Let's see what they do here. This is a pass. Yeah, just kind of see it coming, right? I don't know. Why is it a pass? Because everybody's lined up like they're going to run routes, The pass set, tackle is not running forward. He's going to pass that the whole way, right? That scene in Invincible when he says, what color are my knuckles, right? Which direction are they going? Are they coming back or are they going forward? Okay, let's see here. Right. If you're keeping all 22 guys in the shot, that's the frame right there. And that's at 75%. Okay. Okay. Talking about indicators. If I were just going off of what I'm seeing on the field and I see this guy start dropping in a hurry before the play even starts, it's pass. I'm expecting pass all day long. I might be wrong, but it's pass, right? Statistically speaking, when that guy's doing that, I don't know of a time where I would say, oh, that's going to be a run straight up the middle, right? He's seeing something that's indicating to him that it's pass. Okay. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Perfect. Okay, within 5 yards, both directions. Okay, getting a little wider here. Now we're a little past 5 yards. Still going wider. Ball's been away for a while, right? So that's the thing. Recognize this is a one step quick pass, slinging it out to the guy coming out of the backfield. Um, everybody's going to start condensing almost immediately on that. They're seeing it. They're seeing the quarterback releasing it. So it's a good opportunity to just cut it down. Fourth and 12. More special teams. Okay. Oh, man. Oh. Oh. All right. Wild stuff going on here. This gunner on this end is just crashing inside so hard. And that should be an open invitation to not zoom out as aggressively, right? Gaining an extra 15 yards behind the punter. Pretty aggressive. Keeping an extra 15 yards behind the punter is a bold choice. Okay, zooming out to see 7 rows of the stadium, keeping space in both directions. It's a lot. Okay, and there's a lot of good action going on right here, right? The punter's just pointing up to the sky. Yeah. I mean, I'd love to be able to just see this. Oh yeah, right there. That's where I would love to be able to frame this up. Okay. If there's a reason that we want to keep an extra, keep the punter in the shot to see what he's doing back there, which I would argue is absolutely nothing. And when you're out this wide, you really can barely even see that, right? What's going on here? How many guys are in this pile? I don't even know. Right here, okay? It looks like a big mass of people. How did we get there? I don't know. I can't see it, okay? It shrank down so small that it just becomes a mass of people. But, to look at it, we're at 65% if we were to cut this punter out and get right in on this action. Right? And there's something major happened there for him to be able to break loose to make that happen. This gunner at the top. Nope, little quick step. Okay. And then fighting through double. Oh, buddy. Okay. Love to be able to see more of that. I would love to be able to see more detail in that. All right. Okay, backed up, coming off the goal line, out of your own end zone. Okay, run recognition immediately, fantastic. Second and 7. Okay, they're gonna run it again. It's getting positive yardage. Run it again. That's really positive yardage, and that's really good for your offense, right? Give yourself some breathing room off that goal line. And 1st and 10. Starting to drive. Here we go. Works. Stick with it. Okay. Empty. Passing. How did I know it was a pass? Because it's empty. I mean, You know, you got nobody to hand it off to. Your quarterback can run out of that, but it's not statistically not that common. Um, the majority of the time, you just kind of figure it's gonna be a pass. And if it is, I want to see this receiver all the way through. I, I I don't need to see the sideline at the top anymore. I'd love to be able to see this. So much space. Okay. So much space that could be cut down, or at least just use it to see that receiver. All right. Yes. Okay. Top to bottom, using every last bit of that frame. That's great. It's right there. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Fantastic. Sideline to sideline. Okay. Now this offense is rolling. Okay. Could it be that we're gonna break the plane here? Quarterback scrambles. Fantastic job. Great work from the filmer. Side to side. Used every last bit of that. Quick pass outside. Immediate recognition. I do not need to zoom out any farther because the ball's away. And I can start to zoom back in. Third and 3. Perfect. Offense is locked in. Filmer's locked in. Referees are locked in. We're going to move down the field. We're going to put it in the end zone. Here we go. We're going to get the ball. We're going to score. Oh, yeah. Let's go. All right. Very little change here from the beginning to the end, and everything just fits. Everything fits. Okay. There's a slight slow zoom. Real gradual. I don't even know if he needs that. He doesn't. Still got space behind the quarterback. But just the fact that it's all right here, so little, change to where these players are that they can just watch themselves from beginning to end. I love it. Awesome. Okay. Using the space top to bottom, left to right. Looks good. Okay. Fascinating. Okay. Right there. Let's look at all the pre-snap motion. Guy's outside. We need to zoom out with him. No, he's going back inside. We need to zoom in with him, right? He was the widest guy, so he's not there anymore. That changes things. If it happened immediately as a quick motion, you don't really have time to reset. That's understandable. But right here, they've got the time. They knew it, and they used it. Let's get tight. Oh yeah, let's go! Touchdown, baby. Okay, called it. Saw it happening. Saw him coming down the field for the first time to put it in the end zone. The first time today, putting some 6 points on the board. Okay, and not 3 at a time. So, right here, everything's right here. Everything's in the frame. No reason to make any knee-jerk reactions and just jerk the camera that direction. Let's let him catch it in the frame because we're already there. He can go all the way to the back corner of the end zone before he actually runs off the frame, so you're not worried about it at all. And they're not. Bam. And there it is. Let's zoom up to just kind of see it. Yep. See the referee calling a touchdown. Love it. We're kicking it. Okay. Kick in the extra point. Perfect. Plenty of practice on that today. 16-6. Okay. Going up by 10 for the first time today. Okay. All right. So there. Kept the kicker in the shot, but right on the edge. Love it. That's how you do it. If you're keeping him in the shot, keep him on the edge. Nice. You can go back and pause every bit of that, and you'll just see a guy right on the edge throughout the entire play. Both sides. Quarterback, safety, total of 5 yards. The filmer's really dialed in right now. Oh, that was interesting. Okay, right here. Good. So, all right. Run recognition. The ball's going away. Don't need to zoom out anymore. Here's the action. Here's the activity. Something catches his eye. A little shimmer of light over here. It was a yellow flag, I guess. All right, and then I don't know what prompted him to just start zooming up and filming the sidelines over here. I don't know what's going on over here, right? I wanted to see these guys. I want to see these guys, right? I've got the sideline. We've already got the sideline. He can just keep running up the sideline, and we can just stay right here and just move left to right all the way down to the end zone if that's what happens, right? We don't have to zoom up or pan up at all from here. This is 22 guys in the shot, right? 22 guys and 18, 1, 71, 76, 74, 68, 70. I can see all the numbers, 33, 95, right? And I don't need to zoom up any further to see anything else. I can see just what I need to without seeing any Gatorade or Microsoft cards. All right. Still pretty good though. Because I can see all that detail. It's good. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Boom. Let's go. Wow. What a play. Okay, this is the start of the fourth quarter. That was the first play of the fourth quarter going the other direction. It's a 10-point ball game. 2 possessions. Let's see how that changes play calling in the fourth quarter. Oh! I think it's going to cause more passes and more deep routes. So if you're prepared for it, you can keep up with the safety and drop out the space behind the quarterback to keep the safety in the shot. Okay? Beautiful. Nice and tight. Handoff all day long. Yep. Fantastic. Saw it coming. Kept the quarterback in the shot just a little bit to make sure he didn't keep it. And then came back in with it. Ball's on the ground. Ball's on the ground. Let's go. Nice job. Yes, coming down. Okay, right there. You can see it, right? You can see the thought process. Right here, I got a guy that just came off the edge. Am I going to zoom out? Well, I've got space at the top, so no, let's come on down, right? Zoom on down. Panning it down, tilting it down, as they say. And then this is a beautiful frame. And everything can happen in there. And it's an end around, right? Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Okay. Obviously, you got to pay attention to this receiver on this side. What's he doing? First thing you see him doing is end route. Just call it end route. Or is he coming in like he's gonna, crash block there? Which I don't even know if that's something that's legal. We used to ear hole guys. We used to call it, right? It's not a thing anymore. Um, oh, got a hand on him, right to the edge, right? You could certainly loosen this up at all, but this is what I like to see because he's still in the frame, and I still see 20, 22 guys in the shot. At this point, this guy's going to get dropped here pretty quick. Nope. Yep. Okay. You can just kind of move on up with it with the crowd. Awesome. Nice work. I like that one from beginning to end. Before the play even started, I was looking at, man, that looks really good. Yes. Okay, side to side. Quarterback, corner. Corner to quarter. Okay, fantastic. 2nd and 8, 4th quarter. And if they can put some points on the board here, that's a game changer, right? No longer a touchdown and a field goal. That looks really good. Let's see, 3rd and 8. Oh. Okay. Is there space behind the quarterback? Right here there is. Is there space behind the quarterback here? Yes. Why is that significant? Because we just dropped a guy out the other side. So space here, an extra 6 yards, and missing a guy on this side. Okay. You're either keeping that space and zooming out, which makes players smaller, even smaller than what they already are, or you come over and put this guy on the edge, put this guy on the edge, and just zoom out at the pace that you need to. Right? And if you lose a guy, then you got to freelance, and you don't really know where he's at, and a lot of times the only option you have is just to zoom out as far as you possibly can, and then you get this, right? I still got way out here. Okay, 80%, right? But that the extra 20% is a whole lot of extra nothing, right? And your players are already so small that any amount of detail that you can preserve at these distances is going to be a huge help. All right, 4th and 8. It's a field goal. Okay. So this turns it into a 2-touchdown game instead of a 2-possession game. All right, 19-6. Okay. Kicker's on that edge. Zooming in from there. Now we're dropping the kicker, right? So there's a lot of good detail missed. If we zoom out to here, just to be able to see all 22 guys and then immediately drop out the guy that we've, made so much effort to keep him in the shot, and then keep an extra, 20 yards behind the returner, right? It just puts everybody into this range, right? We could have preserved this all along and kept it right in this range and really started to zoom in well before this if we didn't have to stay out so wide for the kicker. And, the very first thing we did anyway was cut him out of the shot completely. 60%. Okay. And then now zooming out again, right? Play's still going on, and it's getting even wider right there. 45%. Awesome. Great job. Okay. So down 2 touchdowns, 10 minutes to go. How does the play calling change based on that situation? It's just odd to have frame like this. Okay, and then have all that extra space along the edges. Less than 70%. Okay, I formation, motion, safety's dropping, pulling it back, rolling out to the far side. Okay, it's a lot of extra space along the edges. You don't need it, but it works. Okay, a lot of shifting on the defensive line. Run to the far side. Okay. Third and 6. This is a big moment. Ah, very good. Okay. Nice. Nice job. Okay. I count that as a win. To be able to recognize that there's a guy missing and getting out to get him before the play starts. Fantastic. 4th and 6. Huge moment in this game. Nope, not happening. Going back the other way. Wow. Okay. Alright, let's see if there's anything we can do to preserve some detail in here, because it zooms out really far at some point. We're past 10 yards here. Still got a lot of space behind the play. We got 15, 17, almost 20 yards that direction. Still got another 10 yards behind the quarterback. Putting it in the box. Right there. 60. Okay. There's some big things happening on this play. Some big momentous occasion things, right? In the grand scheme of this game. This is kind of game over if you can intercept this pass and take it back the other direction, right? And that's what happens. But zooming out to gain an extra, that much space, you got a guy on this side, but to get this much more space behind the quarterback when you already had that much space, getting 15 yards that direction, to be able to see more of the crowd, to be able to see the cheerleaders. Less grass, more football. One of the best things my coach ever said to me. Beautiful. Holy smokes. Let's take it to heart. Less grass, more football. Roll out this side. 5 yards total. 5 yards total. 5 yards total. Quarterback stepping up. All right, gaining a little space behind the safety at this point. But, man, that's beautiful. motion, changes the framing, changed it up, but didn't have much time to reset, right? Oh yeah. Okay, so you can see he comes in just a little bit. Oh, that motion's going to change my framing. If I've got the time, I'm going to reset. Nope, don't have it. Okay, coming back out. 5 yards here, 5 yards here. Yes, 5 yards here, 5 yards here. Beautiful. And then go in and find the ball. Wow. Mm-hmm. 2 plays in a row. I liked both of them. Okay. Yes. Okay. It's decent. Okay. I just say, can we recognize that that's a run? You know, is there anything that indicates to us that that's going to be a run? And can we stay in tighter because of that? You always want to zoom out to keep up with guys, but is there anything we can do to stay in tight? 5 yards both sides. Quick pitch. Obviously a run. Yep. Okay. Obviously a run, and I'm seeing blocking here, and then stopping, and then coming back in. Yep. Love to be able to see more of this block as we go along if we're going to have extra space on this side. Can we keep him in the shot? You know, we got quarterback's out. You know, he's looking up at the jumbotron at this point. Okay, let's focus here. Let's get it right in on this action, right? Instead of cutting that guy out, let's keep him in and just say, let's see this, right? And you don't have to, you know, aggressively zoom in just to get to that point, but make your way that direction and keep him in the shot. Good. Some good hand fighting going on back there. All right. Roll out this direction. Look at that. I don't know what it is. It just seems to work. There's very little action going on here, right? I would say the one thing I do see is the camera going up right there, right? Going up. But with a rollout coming this direction, everybody's coming this way. If there is somebody going that way, it's you know, very seldom that you're actually gonna throw to him. It's possible, but usually he's just gonna kind of run off as a decoy and then turn around and stop. And you can keep him in the shot, that's fine, but there's nobody doing that, right? So coming up when the ball's clearly coming to the bottom part of your frame, you're just gonna have to come back down with it or zoom out farther, right? And zooming out can cause more space than needed. Nice. Top to bottom, using all of that frame. Great job. Ah, okay. They were saying it's their ball, but nope. Quick toss. I've seen that play before. 1,000 times. Okay. So is the filmer. He knew it was coming. Yeah. Quick pitch this way. Nope. Holding on to it and throwing the pass. Play action. And there it is. Right? Went against the tendency. Thinking it was going to be a quick pitch to the outside. And throws his arms up like he's going to catch it. Nope. Quarterback keeps it and hits this guy coming out. Right there. Wow. Bam. 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 Let's go. And that is a big deal, right? Didn't count it though? Doesn't count as a touchdown. Must have been a penalty somewhere. Okay. Going again. Do it again. Oh. Okay. Let's just see how much of this. Okay, you got space behind the quarterback. You can bring it this way. and cut this down. If you were to do that, put into this frame, you'd be about 80%. Okay. Not bad though. Third and 18. Okay. Yep. Get some yardage here. Get your field goal unit out. Kicker's warmed up from all the other field goals that have taken place today. And put another 3 points on the board. And that's going to make it very difficult with 5 minutes to go in the game. Okay. All right. Yep. Okay. Nice. Okay. Check down to the back out of the backfield. All right. 18-point game right now. So, trying to get some things moving. But on your best day, you're not scoring 3 touchdowns, you know, most of the time in the NFL. With less than 5 minutes to go. You might have like 37 seconds and you can score 3 touchdowns, or however that goes, or whatever the situation is. But 4th and 13, we're gonna go for it. See if we can just keep the ball. Gotta have it. Yep, nice pass. Okay, pretty wide, a lot of space on each side, but keeping everybody in the shot. All right. Nice. Looks good. Okay. Yes. Tightening up the space behind the quarterback. Then zooming out again behind the quarterback. Okay. So if you come right to left to cut that space down, you can continue to keep that space gone just by continuing a little bit right to left as you zoom out again. Right? Otherwise, you're zooming out from the center, and then you're just gaining that space right back. All right. Okay. Fantastic. Look at that. Tightening up. Yes. Oh. Big play by the defense. 4th and 10. Handing the ball over. Okay. Less than 3 minutes to go in the game. Still got the 2-minute warning. Gonna have to get a first down here. Move the chains a little bit. Fantastic job by the filmer. Guess what? Filmers read and run all day long right in this situation. Right? Is it going to be a pass? Nah. Run. Working the clock down. Okay? Incomplete passes don't help. Working it down. Okay, this might take us to the 2-minute warning. Yes. 2 minutes. Okay? I don't know about the timeout situation here. I don't know if still need to keep getting. Oh, wow. Still need to keep getting touchdowns, I guess. Hey, post is open. Throw it. Extra point. Perfect. Of course. I knew it was happening. Okay. They've been spot on perfect with extra points and field goals. And there's been a lot of them today. Kickoff. Okay. A lot of space behind the kicker. A lot of space behind the returner. Dropping out the kicker again, right? So that's the part I don't understand, right? If you're going to keep the kicker in the shot, you're going to, shrink everybody down, like a shrink ray, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids style, ant size, right here, right? What could be this framing could be that. And, in this situation, 65. You're only using 65% of your screen to get this shot. Okay? What could be tight on all of this action, we're keeping it out wide to keep this kicker in the shot, even more than just the kicker. And then as soon as the kicker would actually get involved, we drop him to show an extra 20 yards, 30 yards behind the returner. I don't understand the thinking behind that. Okay? 65. And your framing can stay very consistent in that. If you were to drop the kicker at any point during that, other than the one time that you did, just to continue to keep extra space back here. All right. Top to bottom, using every last bit of that frame. Okay. Third and 6. Okay. 4th and 7. Didn't even get back to the line of scrimmage. Pass. Got it off. Got it to the right guy. Got a first down. Okay. Under a minute at this point. Okay. Nothing you can do down 29-6. Just finish it out on a positive note. Tight set. Obviously the defense is reading pass all day long. So no matter how tight the formation is, they still got deep safeties. Not letting anything behind them. All right. Oh my goodness, what a play. Let's go. 2 seconds left. Last play. Okay. See what they're going to do with it. The sidelines. What a fantastic shot. Okay, great job. All right, and that is the game, folks. 29-6, Saints. Fantastic job from the Saints filmer for week 16 of last season. Towards the end of the season, sometimes it can wear on you, and you get, where you may have made some improvements earlier in the season. It's just like, later on, you've seen that many plays over and over and over again, and can you keep up with the speed of everything? They're definitely doing that at times, and then there's other times where we get a little wider, or even dropping guys out of the shot. on a few times. But overall, really positive. 172 plays, 152 of them were positive. That's 88% of the time. Okay. Bonus, 52% of the time was excellent. And so that puts you to 93.55% for the Saints filmer from 2025. So great job. Looking forward to 2026. Until then, this is Cameraman Grades.